And all right, good morning, everyone. So as always with these classes, I can't see what you're doing right now. So remember that if something doesn't work in your body, please modify what we are doing to something that feels good. Remember, yoga shouldn't hurt. So today is all about snow shoveling recovery, which for most of us means our lower backs and our shoulders and arms are a little tired. So today, rather than starting seated, we're going to start lying down. So what I'd like you to do is roll all the way down onto your back and draw your knees into your chest. And you can lie still or you can find a gentle rocking motion, just beginning to ease into the practice. And from here, simply begin to deepen and lengthen your breath. Just finding some beautiful, long, slow, deep breaths. And as you breathe, maybe you begin to experiment with a little more movement. So maybe you start to draw big circles with your knees. Depending on where you're feeling tension in your body, maybe you draw them in and rock around a little tighter. But use this space to just explore as we're centering for our practice today. And then coming back to stillness, back to center. Let's lower the soles of our feet all the way down to the mat. Draw your hands to heart center if that's meaningful for you. And take a moment to set your intention for your practice today, to choose the energy you'd like to come back to, what you'd like to dedicate yourself to in this moment. And then from here, we're just going to release our hands down to the mat, cross your right ankle over your left knee, and turn your right knee out. So we're making kind of a 4 shape with our legs. You can look down and see a triangle between your thighs. Now, you may already be feeling a bit of a stretch here, and if that's the case, you stay exactly as you are with your left foot on the mat. If you'd like to deepen this stretch, you can float that left foot up off the mat, drawing the right knee in. And we're starting here because, of course, we do a lot of work when we're shoveling using our glute, our butt muscles, and this helps stretch those out. And again, depending on how this feels, you can also reach your hands through, find the back of your left thigh, and draw that even closer to you. And remember, we want this stretch to feel good, right? Yoga should feel good. If it feels like pain, relax the stretch. And then lower your left knee down. We're going to uncross that right ankle, and we're going to feel that on the other side. Cross your left ankle over your right knee and turn your left knee out. Again, making that figure 4 shape. And just notice how this feels. Our bodies are asymmetrical, so usually one side will be a little more comfortable than the other. Again, you can stay right as you are. You're also welcome to float that right leg off the mat. Maybe you reach your hands through and find the back of that right thigh, drawing your legs toward your torso. And again, going gently here, noticing what feels good, and continuing to keep that left knee turned out to the side. And then we're going to simply lower that right foot down, uncross that left leg, draw your knees in and rock forward to seated. Now, from here, you may want to scoot back a little bit. So finding your way toward the back of the mat and bring your feet to the width of the mat. We're going to do a little bit of gentle hip opening, which begins to address tension in the lower back because this entire part of the body is all connected. So go ahead and find some kickstand arms here so that you can be nice and supported. And we're just going to begin to drop our knees from one side to the other. So this begins a gentle loosening of the hip joints. So as always, there are different places you can go from here. You can stay exactly as you are if this feels good. You can also, as you come over to one side, completely drop your knees and then sweep the opposite arm. And you'll start to get a nice stretch in your sideways, which can sometimes get a little crunchy after snow shoveling. Lowering that hand down, dropping over to the other side, and sweeping the upper arm long. Coming back to center. So this is option 2, right? Getting a nice deep opening, really beginning to loosen some muscles up. Now, one thing you will notice if you choose this option is you're going to slowly walk your way down the mat. So when you roll out of mat, just scoot back to start over. And I'll show you option 3. So the third one, when you come over to one side and sweep that upper arm, you can press into your supportive hand to lift. This will run that side waist opening all the way from fingertips to knee. You'll really feel it along your side waist. And again, check in, make sure that's something you want to do. You can also try something in yoga and decide it's not for you and come back to whatever variation works best for your body today. And then let's all find our way back to center. We're going to meet in tabletop. So sweep your feet around behind you. In tabletop, wrists come beneath the shoulders, knees are under the hips, and let's get some nice spinal movement going. On your inhale, roll your heart forward and tip your tailbone to the sky. Then exhale, coil your belly in and drop the crown of your head. Inhaling to roll open. And exhaling to coil. So as always, we have options in cat-cow. You can stay right here. If this feels good, you stay right here. If you'd like to, you're also welcome to experiment with some free-form spinal movement. So that can be drawing circles with your hips or your rib cage. It can be scooting back, scooting forwards, whatever works in your body today. Coming back to a stable tabletop, we're going to come to a neutral spine. Draw your knees a little closer together underneath your hips so that you're nice and stable. On your inhale, extend your right leg long and drop your right toe down to the mat. Now from here, let's stretch that right calf by pressing into the right heel. So we'll get a nice deep stretch along that right calf. You might even feel it into your right hamstring, that big muscle along the back of your thigh. And then let's switch it out. Lower your right knee down, extend your left leg long behind you, lower that toe and begin to press into your left heel. And again, try to keep your breathing long and slow and smooth here. Lowering that left knee down to meet the right. We're going to bring the knees nice and wide and sink our hips toward our heels for child's pose. You can walk your hands forward to melt. You can also make a pillow with your hands and rest your head if you're not comfortable putting your forehead on your mat. Now, part of why we're in child's pose is it's so good for the muscles we use when we are stretching and working while shoveling snow. So what I'd like you to do is every exhale, visualize your hips and maybe even press them down toward your heels just a little more. With every exhale, we sink toward the back a little bit more. And you may notice at some point that making your knees wider or narrower would be more comfortable. Feel free to do so. And then from here, we're simply going to walk the hands back, finding our way up to low kneeling. And from here, we're going to make our way toward forward fold at the top of the mat. So go ahead and find your way to your feet. walk to the top of the mat, and then simply fold forward. Now again, we're looking at stretching the back, right? Specifically the lower back. So when you're forward fold, try to allow your knees to be straight-ish, right? So you can feel a little stretch along the back. And then as we inhale, we lengthen the spine. Exhale to soften, to really melt over your legs. If it would feel good to find a little bit of movement right here, to rock from side to side, to find your elbows and dangling ragdoll, feel free to do so, right? One important thing, remember to lengthen the back of your neck and really let your head and your neck release. We tend to carry a lot of tension in our shoulders and our neck. Coming to stillness at the center, bend both knees. Exhale, roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale to rise and open, sweep your fingertips to the sky. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Release your hands down by your sides. Now let's set up our first mountain pose of practice. So mountain pose in yoga, we want our feet about 1.5 fists to 2 fists distance apart so that we're feeling nice and stable and rooted. If you put your fingers on those little bony protrusions at the front of your hips, your little hip bones, if you look down, your feet should be directly beneath them. Bring your hands to your belly, give your belly some love. And then find that space just beneath your navel, that little triangle of muscles, and draw them in and up. Feel your tailbone lengthen. Shoulders roll back and down, and palms face forward. On your next inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale to pour all the way forward, bowing over your legs. Now on your next inhale, we're gonna halfway rise, which means the hands come to the shins or the thighs. Once you've landed your hands, roll your shoulders back and down and lengthen your spine. You'll feel a stretch along the backs of your legs. And if you don't, walk your fingertips a little further down while keeping your spine straight, and you'll begin to get that stretch. I'm just going to breathe right here. And on this next exhale, bend both knees, fingertips come down to the mat. On your inhale, extend your right leg all the way back, touching down for lunge. Lower your right knee all the way down to the mat. Now, check in with your lunge. We want to make sure that left knee is directly over the left ankle. Then frame your left shin with your hands. Now, if it feels like the earth is a little far away today, you can always use blocks underneath your hands to give yourself a little more space. Inhale to look forward. Exhale, let your left hip draw back, letting that left leg start to straighten out. Left toes might rise a little bit off the mat. And then inhale forward to lunge, and we're gonna melt that right hip toward the earth. Exhaling, shifting back. And inhaling forward. And we just follow the breath right here, opening the lower body gently. Let your next inhale bring you all the way forward to lunge. Find your tabletop once more. So knees are beneath the hips, wrists come under the shoulders. Now from here, we're gonna walk our hands forward as our hips stay high. Melt your belly toward your thighs. Feel that nice deep stretch along your back. If this is too much in your shoulder joints, you can bend your elbows and put your forearms on the mat. If that stretch in the shoulders feels good, of course, you can leave your arms extended. And then roll your way all the way out and down onto your belly. Make a pillow with your hands, rest your head, rock your hips from side to side. If windshield wiper legs would feel good, you can add those in here too. And then from here, we're gonna press our way back. Your choice, you can come to tabletop or to downward facing dog if you have one of those in your practice and you'd like to feel it. Wherever you've landed, find movement. So if you're in tabletop, that's cat-cow or freeform spinal movement. If you're in down dog with me, you're walking out your dog, bending one knee and then the other. Come to stillness wherever you've landed. Inhale to look forward. Exhale to step your right foot forward between your hands. Multi-step movements are fine here. And if your back knee is lifted, go ahead and lower it down to the mat. Now we want to check in with this right leg and make sure it's safe. So we want to keep the right knee directly above the right ankle. So just scoot your foot forward if you need to. Frame your right shin with your hands. Inhale to look forward. Exhale, shift back. Right leg starts to stretch out. Right toes might rise a little bit. And then inhale forward to lunge. Exhaling, shifting back. Let your next inhale bring you all the way forward to lunge. Turn your left toes under to lift your back knee. Look forward and step together and fold. Soften right here. Remember, you can always find movement. If rocking back and forth would feel good, go ahead and rock. Come back to stillness at the center. Bend both knees. Exhale, roll your way up. Inhale, rise and open. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Check in with your mountain pose. If you moved, no big deal, but go ahead and reset. Finding that rooted, stable position, drawing your navel in, tailbone is long, shoulders roll back and down, and palms face forward. Inhale to sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway rise. This time we're going to feel this as a pulse. So roll your shoulders back and down. Exhale to soften. Inhaling, halfway rise. Exhale to fold. One more time, halfway rise. And exhale, bend both knees, plant your fingertips. Inhale to step your left foot back to lunge and lower the left knee down. So let's take that stretch a little bit deeper this time. We're going to frame that right shin with our arms again. Inhale to look forward. Exhale to shift back. Now this time you can walk your hands back as well if you would like, stretching out the back of your leg. Inhaling forward to lunge, melting the left hip. And exhaling, shifting back, maybe walking back, really stretching it out. Let your next inhale bring you all the way forward to lunge. Tabletop. Wrists beneath the shoulders, knees under the hips. Keep your hips high as you walk your hands forward. Melt your belly toward your thighs and your heart toward the mat for puppy dog pose. Now there's a little flow we can feel right here. Remembering, of course, again, that if this is too much in your shoulders, you can just lower your forearms to the mat. So that spinal flow, on your exhale, round your back, turning your tailbone under a little bit so we feel a scoop. And then inhale, melt your heart toward the mat and tip your tailbone out. Exhaling, tailbone curls under, scoop your belly. Inhaling, belly to thighs, heart to the mat. One last time. And this time we're gonna roll it all the way out and down, coming down to the mat. Make a pillow with your hands, rest your head and rock your hips from side to side. And again, if it would feel really nice to add some windshield wiper legs here, you totally can. Lower your toes down to the mat. Bring your fingertips wide. They can come off the mat, coming out to either side. Begin to roll one shoulder and then the other through creative Cobra. We use our shoulders so much when we shovel snow. So take a moment to work through all of those spots that are making funny little clicking noises. Return your hands to beneath your shoulders and press back. Tabletop or downward facing dog, yogi's choice. And again, taking a moment, walk it out or move your spine wherever you happen to be. Find some freedom, find some movement. And then stabilize, come into stillness. On your inhale, look forward. Exhale to step your left foot forward between your hands. Lower your right knee down to the mat. So again, check in right here. We want to make sure that left knee is directly beneath the left ankle. That helps protect our knees. Once they're gone forever. So you want to be very careful with them. Fingertips are wide. We're framing that left shin. Inhale to look forward. Exhale, this time we walk our hands back as the left toes rise. Deep stretch to the back of the left leg. Inhaling forward to lunge, melt your right hip. And exhale, shift it back. Let your next inhale bring you all the way forward to lunge. Turn your right toes under to lift your back knee. Look forward and step together and fold. Find ease. Relax your head and your neck and your shoulders. Rock from side to side if that would feel good. And then come to stillness at the center. Bend both knees. Exhale, roll your way up. Inhale to rise and open. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Beautiful. Okay. I'm going to adjust my camera slightly. What I'd like you to do is take a nice wide stance on the mat. So what we're going to do here is step wide, and we're going to let our feet be completely parallel. So our toes are facing the same direction. Now, it may be helpful to have a block in front of you. Some of you won't need it, but some of you might. So go ahead and set that up if you're working with blocks today. So once you've got that nice wide stance, we're going to find a forward fold first. Inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Let your hands find the block or the floor, and we'll start just by melting right here. Soften your spine, relax your head and your neck, just bow. Breathe. For those of you who are in the tight hamstrings club with me, shift your weight into your heels, tip your tailbone a little more toward the sky, and you're going to get a nice deep stretch all along the backs of your legs. So from here, we're going to add a little bit of movement. Walk your hands over to the right side of the mat and bend your right knee. Press the edge of your left foot away. Inhale to center, and then walk your hands over to the left side of the mat. Press the edge of your right foot away. And inhale to center. Walking over to the right, to center, and then over to the left. So this really helps open up the inner thighs. It stretches the lower back. This movement pattern is called flowing Skandasana. Now, depending upon how open your hips and your inner thighs are, there is another variation here. I'm going to show it to you, but I want you to be careful if you try it. When you come over to one side, you can drop completely onto that side and turn your opposite toe up. But again, be really careful here. You want to make sure your hips and your inner thighs are nice and open. Otherwise, this can overstretch the hamstrings. Wherever you happen to be, we're going to come back to center. Roll your way all the way up to standing. A little adjustment to our stance. Now we're going to draw those heels in to about a 45-degree angle. Bring your hands to your hips and bend both knees, sinking down to high yoga squat. Inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling, to sink. Now, this next time you come down to high yoga squat, just check in with your alignment. We want to make sure that our knees are tracking out over our feet. So we're not shifting forward here, right? We're turning out. And that really helps stretch through the hips and lower back. Inhaling to lift. And exhaling to lower. Now, you can stay focused right here on the lower body. If you'd like to add some arms on your next inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, hands through heart center. Inhaling to open. And exhale. On this next exhale, we're going to sustain in high yoga squat. Bring your right hand to your right inner thigh and press your right shoulder down into the center. Inhaling up, left hand, left thigh, left shoulder down into the center. Inhaling. Right side. And left side. We're just going to alternate right here. This is a lovely sort of multi-purpose stretch. Stretches the back side waist, the shoulder. Coming back to center, we're going to find our way all the way up to standing. You can let your feet be parallel again, just coming to a comfortable stance. So from here, we're going to find a little bit of a fascia stretch for our upper body because, of course, shoveling involves a lot of shoulder and arm muscles. So what I'd like you to do is lift your right hand, turn your palm to face away, press into the heel of your hand. Now, this will almost immediately feel weird. It's not exactly pain, but it feels very strange. So if it becomes too much, if that tingling, stretching feeling is too much, you can just bend your elbow a little. One option here, you can keep your arm extended straight out to the side. You can also begin to track it behind you. As you do, you're going to notice where that stretch is hitting changes a little bit. So just notice what feels good, what helps you release tension. And then we're going to come back to center, bend your right arm, wiggle it out a little bit because, wow, that feels weird. And let's feel it on the other side. Lift your left hand, turn your palm to face away and press into the heel of your hand. Again, same notes, right? If it feels too much, you can always bend the elbow. You can leave your arm extended out to the side. You can also begin to track your left arm behind you. And this is going to be different for everybody. In my body, it feels really good to have my arms sort of reaching behind me. If that's not the case for you, that's totally okay. Do what feels right. Coming back to center, to stillness, we're going to wiggle that left arm out. And then bring your hands in front of you, interlace your fingers. We're going to reach those hands up overhead, turn your palms to face away, and press up. You're going to find your breastbone lifting naturally. Stretching up tall and then reaching over to one side. Doesn't matter which one, we're gonna do both. Really feel that stretch along your side waist. Coming back to center, we're gonna feel that over to the other side, again, whichever side you're on. Coming back to center here, turn your palms to face you and bring them down to about heart center level, right? Press the backs of your hands away, round your upper back, and drop your head in between your upper arms. Ooh, this feels good. We might just stay here for like half an hour, guys. And release, roll your way all the way back up to standing. From here, we're going to set up for our warrior sequence. So place your right foot toward the short side of the mat. I tried to say 3 different things at once. And we're going to step that left foot back. So we've got a nice big open stance here. That left foot is dialed out at a 90-degree angle. Right foot is facing the top of the mat. Turn your heart and your hips to face the broad side of the mat. So we're setting up here for warrior 2, which is very open. Radiate your arms out. Flip your right hand to face the sky and inhale, sweep up and back. Really feel this all along that right side. Exhaling, sweeping that right hand down to the knee, reaching your left arm long. If it's open to you, you can come down to your left elbow here, and that'll get you a gorgeous stretch all along your side waist. You might feel it in your back as well. Try to keep your heart open to the side. Inhale, sweep up and back. This is reverse warrior. Exhale, hand or elbow to knee. Left arm reaches long, feeling extended side angle. And inhale up and back. Exhaling. Coming back to reverse warrior on this next exhale, we're gonna dive that right arm underneath the right knee. Superman your arms, spreading them out, letting our bodies reach to the inside of that right thigh. Inhaling up and back. And exhaling, diving, feeling that deeper hip stretch, that wonderful low back stretch. And exhale. All right, little challenge time. So what we're gonna do is root that right hand down to the mat. Now, if you know right now that this is too much, you can bring your right hand to your elbow. Extend your left arm long. We wanna sink those hips just a little bit deeper, really stretching all along that left side. And then lower your left hand down to the mat. Pivot on your left foot, lower that left knee down. So we're gonna walk our hands back, turning so that our left knee is nice and straight underneath us. And we're gonna turn our toes on the right foot to face the broad side of the mat. So we're setting up for gate pose here, which is another beautiful side waist opener. So for gate pose, we wanna root ourselves over that left side. Inhale, reach your left arm up, over, reaching to the right, and really just feeling that beautiful stretch. Remember to feel a little bit of an up and over. We lift through the rib cage and then melt. Lowering that left hand down. Let's feel that on the other side. Sweep your right arm up and over. Now, yogi's choice, you can stay here. If it's open to you, you can bring your left hand down to the mat and get a full body sideways stretch here. And strong core brings you up. From here, we're gonna bring our toes to touch, knees open out, child's pose. Sinking down, coming back to your breath, back to your intention. And remember, every exhale, we visualize those hips coming toward those heels just a little bit more. Walking your hands back. Let's find our way back up to standing so we can feel that entire thing on the other side. So this time we're going to set up our warrior pose with the left foot in front, stepping that right foot back, letting those right toes dial out to the side. Left toes are facing the short side of the mat, and turn your body to be open to the broad side of the mat. Radiate your arms. Flip your left hand to face the sky. Inhale, sweep up and back. Exhale, left hand or left elbow to the left knee, right arm reaches long. Inhaling up and back. So this is called dancing warrior. And you can just flow back and forth. Now on your next exhale, let's take this a little deeper. We're going to dive that left arm underneath the left knee, Superman your arms. Inhaling up and back. Again, opening out. And inhaling up and back. All right, next exhale is our challenge. So we're going to come down and plant that right hand to the mat. Again, if you know already that this is not for you, just come up to your elbow on your knee instead. Sweep your right arm long, and we're going to sink into those hips, letting them become nice and low. Breathe. And then with control, we're going to lower that right hand down. Pivot on your right foot, lower down to your right knee. Walk your hands back, and we're just going to turn on that mat so that that right knee is directly beneath us and the left leg is extended out to the side. So again, setting up for gate pose, right? You want to be centered, nice and stable on that right knee. Sweep your right arm out to the side, up and over, reaching to the left. And just feeling that beautiful sense of opening all along that side. And release. Other side here, sweep your left arm out and up and over. Yogi's choice, stay here, or to take it deeper, bring your right hand down to the mat. And really stretch all along that entire left side, pinky toes to pinky fingers. And release. Coming back up to gate pose, we're going to lower our hands to the mat. Bringing the knees together, toes touch, and then open the knees out wide. Sink your hips toward your heels. Child's pose. A few breaths right here. Coming back to your breath, back to your intention. Walk your hands back to center. Now, one of the best hip stretches we have in yoga is also sometimes called the other four-letter F word, and that is frog pose. So let's go ahead and set it up. We want to leave our knees nice and wide for this. Bring your hands down as though you're going to be in tabletop though. Now, what makes it frog pose is we turn our feet out. So if you can see my little feet behind me, right? We've got our knees so that we're feeling the connection to the mat on the inside of the knee. Might feel a little bit weird. Now, depending upon how wide your knees are, this might be plenty of stretch already. There is a little movement you can do here though. If you'd like to, you can press back, right? Shifting toward your hips. It's going to be subtle. I think my body's maybe only moving an inch or so. And then inhale forward and then shift back. Inhaling forward. And we're just easing our hips open. So we want to go gently and carefully here. And then of course the fun part of frog is getting out of it. So I like to turn my toes back and then sort of inch my knees in. Let your toes touch once more, and we're going to sit back for child's pose. Notice how different this feels. You can find a little rocking motion here too. I like to rock after frog pose. I think it helps me integrate the stretch. Walk your hands back and sweep your feet around in front of you for butterfly pose. So we're going to bring the soles of our feet together. Now, we have been in hips and low back all practice, which means you can probably bring your heels pretty close to your body here and still stay sitting forward. You should be pretty open through the hips by now. Lengthen your spine, sit nice and tall. On your next exhale, hinge forward from the hips. So we're reaching our heart forward and down. And then you're going to reach a spot where you are done with as far as you can reach with a flat back. And then you're just going to surrender. Bow your head, let your spine curve. You can bring your elbows to your inner thighs or to your calves. Applying gentle downward pressure, you can roll them open if that feels a little bit nice to you. Remember, going with what feels good in your body. It's going to be different for everyone. And release, roll your way back up to seated. All right, so we have been working toward one particular stretch all practice long, and that stretch is called Garland pose or low yoga squat. So high yoga squat we did earlier, we're going to go low now. So what I'd like you to do is find your way up to your low squat. So we can have our hands to the mat, feet alternating one and then the other. I like to rock back and forth a little bit. And then notice how wide your feet need to be for you to feel stable enough here that you might be able to lift your hands off the mat, right? And this is a very deep place for the hips. Now, there is a little pulse that can be done here once we bring the hands to the heart. On your exhale, coil your belly in and curl that tailbone under. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. And exhaling, rounding. This just gets really deep into the lower back. And release. Legs come down to the mat. And let's go ahead and roll onto our backs. Draw your knees in and rock from side to side. Now that might have been a lot on your back and on your belly, so just take a moment, draw some big circles with your knees if that would feel good. Rock from side to side. Again, gentle moment of self-massage here. Coming to stillness at the center, we're going to extend that left leg long and let it come all the way down to the mat. Hi, Lefa. Oh, no puppy kisses right now. Thank you. And we're going to hug that right knee into the chest as tightly as we can while leaving that left leg extended. Inhale to release a little bit. Exhaling, hug again. Inhaling to release. And exhaling to hug. All right, so then we'll switch it out. Draw your left knee in, extend your right leg long, let it relax all the way down to the mat. Hug your left knee in on your exhale. Inhale to release and exhale. So we pulse with the breath here, that way we're not fighting our body. All right, so now we do both knees. We're going to bring them into our chest. Exhale, really hug them in. You might round up if that feels good to you. Inhaling to release. Exhaling, coiling up. It's called Apanasana. Inhale to release. And lower down. Rock your head from side to side, releasing any neck tension that might have arisen. From here, we're going to draw our knees toward our armpits and press our heels to the sky, keeping that nice deep bend in the knee. So for happy baby pose, you can either take your peace fingers to your big toes, or you can grab your ankles, or you can grab the insides of your feet, whatever's open to you. And we want to draw those knees toward the mat, really getting that beautiful deep hip and back stretch here. Now, as always in yoga, you have choices, right? So from here, you can either sustain this stretch, or you can add a little movement. I like to extend one leg and then the other. In my body, this feels really, really nice. Coming back to center, we're going to draw our knees together at the center. Little pause for rocking, for integration, and then rock your way forward to seated. Turn to face the broad side of your mat. You're going to draw that left heel in and extend your right leg long. So for a single-legged forward fold, turn your heart toward your right foot. Inhale, create plenty of length. And exhale, fold forward. Wherever your hands land is fine. It'll be the thigh, the shin, the mat, maybe the foot, wherever you happen to be. On your inhale, create length along your spine. Exhale to soften into the space you've created. Just breathe right here, gently letting the body open. Roll your way all the way up to seated. Bend your right knee, and we're going to place that right knee out in front of us for seated twist. Now you have options for your seated twist. You can stay right here with your right foot in front. You can also cross your right foot over your left knee, whatever feels better in your body today. Sweep your right hand down to the mat or to the floor behind you. Roll your right shoulder back and down and press into your hand. Inhale to reach your left arm to the sky, and exhale, bend your left elbow, bringing it to your knee and beginning to press back into a twist. Oh, this feels so nice. Every inhale, create a little bit of length. Every exhale, ease into that twist just a little bit more. And release. Sweep your hands over to the left, plant your fingertips and bow your head. Feel that glorious stretch along the back, right side of your back, down into your lower back. Coming back to center, let's set that whole thing up on the other side. So we're going to take that right heel in and extend the left leg long. Turn your heart toward your left foot. Inhale, create space. Exhale to fold forward. And again, wherever your hands land is fine. Once your fingertips have touched down, find the pulse. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling, soften, bowing over your leg. Gently walk your hands back up, bend your left knee and plant your foot out in front of you. So same choice for seated twist on this side. You can leave your left foot where it is, or you can cross it over your right knee. Plant your left hand, roll your shoulder back and down and press into your hand to get tall, then reach your right arm to the sky. Inhaling up and over, and then bringing your elbow to your knee. beginning to turn toward the back of the room. Inhale to lengthen, exhaling, easing into that twist. And release. Sweep your hands over to your right hand side, fingertips touching down, bow your head. Find your way back through center, and we're going to line our heels up with the edge of the mat, straightening the legs so that we are set up for both forward fold and then for Shavasana afterwards. So once you have measured your legs out against the mat, so you have plenty of space to fold forward, draw your knees in until your belly and your thighs are touching. We're just going to lean forward to meet them without moving our hips at all. From here, reach down, find your ankles or your big toes, whatever you can get a hold of. Inhale to lengthen your spine. So belly and thighs are still touching, but now we have a straight spine. And walk your heels out a little bit. When you feel your belly and your thighs separate, snuggle down again, letting the spine round, and then inhale to lengthen, right? Heart reaches forward, heels scoot out just a little more, snuggling down. Inhaling to lengthen, heels scoot out until you find your perfect forward fold. Now, in most bodies, that is done with the knees slightly bent. What we want to feel is our heart reaching toward our toes and a deep stretch all the way along the backs of the calves, the knees, the thighs, into the lower back, maybe even the shoulders. This stretches the entire backside of the body. Once you've found your perfect forward fold, simply surrender, bow your head, and just come into your breathing, really concentrating on keeping that breath long and slow and smooth. And then gently make your way all the way back up to seated. Draw your knees in and roll down onto your back. Rock from side to side. Draw circles with your knees. Whatever helps you integrate that stretch. And if there is any additional movement, any stretch, any yoga pose, anything at all you would like to feel, take a moment to honor that request. Even if today's the very first day you rolled out your yoga mat, your body knows what it wants to feel. So just listen to it and give it what it's asking for. And then as you are ready, begin to make your way into your Shavasana. Remembering that you have lots of options here, right? So classical Shavasana is done with the heels wide, shoulders are relaxed, palms face the sky. However, in many bodies, and mine is one of them, this causes tension in the lower back. And if that's you, just bend your knees, plant your feet the distance of the mat and let your knees fall together at the center. You can also take child's pose here. You can take reclining goddess pose. And of course, seated meditation is always welcome. So take a moment to find your perfect position for Shavasana. And then draw your awareness to all the places where your body is touching the earth. And let those points begin to melt a little bit. Let them become less distinct. Relax your jaw. Relax your eyes and your forehead. And simply let go and float. Allow your breath to create space within your body. And begin to find some little movements of your fingertips and your toes. Just returning to this space, to this time. Point your toes away and reach your arms up overhead. Take a nice deep breath in, full body stretch. And exhale to draw your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Eventually find your way all the way over onto your right side and just curl into the posture of the sleeping child. No tension at all. Take a moment in this space that you have created to breathe in that wonderful energy of winter, of rest, of going within. And then whenever you are ready and you feel your practice is complete, use your hands to help press yourself up to a nice, easy seated position. Bring your hands to heart center and close your eyes. We're going to close our practice this morning with a round of Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, a prayer for peace. Inhale. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. Thank you. Let me shift forward and stop the recording. There we go.